This is a great example of a question that the task is very obvious as soon as we see it. We're definitely going to need to think about the pronouns, probably singulars and plurals, but why not start with the easier thing and just think about the contractions, which are the ones with the apostrophes, right? So there with an apostrophe is they are, and it's with an apostrophe is it is. You need to know that. You are a late teenager. You are about to go to college. If you cannot tell the difference between those words, you are in big trouble. That's basic English. So now we can just substitute those in the blank, though. In they are place is a far more personal subject? No. In it is place is a far more personal subject? No. They just sound terrible, right? So it's almost never going to be those answers on the SAT, but it can't hurt to check. You never know. Now we have a much more grammatical and potentially dangerous in terms of traps decision to make, is whether or not we need the singular possessive pronoun its or the plural possessive pronoun there. So when we fill that blank, we need to make sure we're referring to something, right? In other words, here, in blank place is a far more personal subject. A sculpture depiction of the artist as a young girl with her mother. So something replaced something else, right? Something is in its place, in their place, right? I don't know what the answer is, but now I know what I'm looking for. I'm going to find the thing that has been replaced. So in Marisol's 1968 sculpture, Mi Mamá y Yo, gone are the types of pop culture references that made the Parisian-born Venezuelan-American artist a star at the height of the pop art movement. So what's gone? The references. Right? So that's the thing. What's been replaced, these references in their place, is a far more personal subject. Now that's tricky because I think when we talk and we use that kind of language, that phrasing ourselves, we tend to say something is in its place, and one thing is replaced. Plus, the word is singular. So it feels like we're going to need a singular in the blank as well. But that's the thing with pronouns, is they're tricky. We can refer to all sorts of things. And the reason that we need a singular verb in this case is a far more personal subject. The subject here is the subject of the verb is, but a pronoun doesn't need to be the subject of a sentence or the subject of a verb. Literally any noun can be replaced by a pronoun. And so that's why we're also not even just looking within that sentence for what's known as the antecedent of that particular pronoun. It's going to be in the previous sentence. So this is a great example of how the answer choices tell us a particular rule. That rule has maybe a two-step process. And of course, start with the easier step, which was the contractions here, getting rid of those. And then as we go through the last step, we have a specific task. We have specific traps that we're worried about, and we know how to avoid that we associate with that rule. So this is the kind of thing that, yes, it's a hard question, but you really have no excuse for getting this wrong. If you understand this rule and you understand how the SAT tests this rule, you should have been aware of what was going on at every step of this process.